welcome to yet another exciting episode of EntreJourn Conversation Series with Couplepreneurs. Through narratives shared by couplepreneurs, we try to find out what are the realities, the setbacks, the challenges, the strengths. What is that tactful factor, that mantra that keeps the bond between the couples grow stronger and deeper? For the concluding episode of this conversational series, we are so delighted and humbled to have co-founders of IndianYards, Suhas Ramegowda and Sunita Suhas, grace our show. Welcome, Suhas. Welcome, Sunita.
Thank you so much for having us here today. We are very excited to speak with you.
Same emotions. So, let me just directly start with the question. So, two major decisions of your life, it's so striking. First, choosing as a couple to leave the corporate world and choice of becoming a socialpreneur. Second, again, major one, choosing to leave the charms of the city, moving to the quietness of the hills. As a couple, how did you arrive at it together? Or were there differences? What was the brainstorming sessions? How did you arrive at it? Very intriguing.
So it's a long story, actually.
Yeah, it's a long story.
We won't finish in half an hour.
But we'll try and sort of concise it as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I think I can take lead and then you
can
chip in. In 2016, while we were still in the cities and we were with the corporate world, we figured that what we were doing was not bringing us happiness. We went looking for happiness, doing multiple things like cycling and running and fitness and so on and so forth. But we realized that also was not making us, happy. That's when we stumbled on yoga and then we turned inward. And we realized that, a lot of realizations happened, but one of the things that we sort of took to is minimalism. So we turned minimalist while we were still in the cities. We spent about a year or so being minimalist, peeling a lot of, things
layers
that we had, that we had acquired over a period of time. To a point in 2017, we realized that we were actually not having any interaction with the city. In the sense, there is no exchange happening with the cities. We didn't have a social life. We were not social really. We were not buying things, mindlessly, or there was no compulsive, habits that, that we had. We were just amongst us, and that's when we realized that we don't need to be in the city. And, we could now make this move, which we always wanted to do, which is to live in the wilderness, in the rural landscape. The funny thing, you asked this question, Aishi, and I don't think anyone has asked this question before. I don't think we have spoken about it before as well, is how did we actually make the decision? It was a very spontaneous decision. I think we just kept making decisions. We didn't have any discussion between the two. Basically both of us were aligned. So while we were making decisions, the other one would make the decision, the other one would tag along. That's how we went about it. Actually, we never had a conversation or a plan or a brainstorming for either of these decisions. So it was just spontaneous. It was very natural. And
we went through this phase where we stopped planning, because when you plan, then you get scared.
And you miss out on the possibilities. That's what we figured, that when you plan too much, you miss out on the possibilities. So we stopped planning, and it was a very spontaneous and natural decision, which both of us were making as we went along. And I think because we both were aligned and we were going through the experience together, there was really no need for brainstorming or debating or whatever. So that is as far as the decision to move from cities to wilderness. That's the answer for that question. The second question that you had is to move from corporate to being social entrepreneurs. That was not planned either. We didn't plan to become social entrepreneurs. We actually call ourselves accidental entrepreneurs. We moved from the cities to the wilderness because we wanted to live off the grid. We wanted to live amongst the wild. We wanted to live in a rural landscape. So we picked up land. We did agriculture. We built ourselves another home. We lived with elephants, bears, and the works. We did that for about a year and a half. But during this time, we also got integrated with the local community, which is when we noticed that there was a problem, a serious problem around livelihood, for the indigenous people. That's when we said that, okay, we have to do something about the problem. We couldn't ignore it. That's when we started IndianYards. And that's how we became social entrepreneurs, not with the intent of becoming social entrepreneurs, but with the intent of solving a problem that we saw.
All right. So what I'm deducing is, does it mean that couples or two individuals having more similarities, like in nature, in personality, in ideologies, will it be very helpful in avoiding the stress? Or two people having different ideologies, different talent, different energies, will it be more complementing? So in your case, I think alignment was the word I heard. What do you think? What do you suggest also? What works better?
I don't think there is a formula like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about two different people or two people who are similar. It's not like that.
But between us, I think we are very different people.
We are very different people. Yeah.
Except the common aspect between us is both of us love to be in nature, in wild, in a rural landscape. We also are not very social. Both of us are not very social. So I think that's the only common link between the two of us. Otherwise, in many other ways, we're very different people.
Yeah, we do have similarities, like we're both vegetarians, we both don't drink, we both don't smoke, we both don't talk a lot, and we both love the quiet.
The stillness.
The stillness.
And we're comfortable with just us.
Just us. Yeah,
we're comfortable with the both of us, and we're comfortable individually, being by ourselves. So I think those are the commonalities that we have, but there are many things that we're not, the same. We have a lot of differences as well.
Yeah, like he drinks coffee and I drink tea. This is a tea land. This is not a coffee land. So I am more into the place. So I drink tea and he drinks coffee and I don't like coffee. And he doesn't like tea. Little bit of difference. But in our head, we are very aligned because that really helps us to run IndianYards the way we have been running IndianYards for the past 2 years.
True. So digging a little bit, when you say you are different people, so I'm hoping there would have been some disagreements or some kind of debate at times. So what happens? Does it affect your personal relationship? How do you solve it? Maybe this would just help others who are in this stage. Maybe some tips around it. What happens actually? How do you come to an agreement or a consensus?
Yeah, so we've been asked this question.
Disagreements we have a lot. It's not like we don't have disagreements. It would be a lie, an absolute lie. There are two people living together. We are both born out of different mothers, different places. We have to have disagreements. So we disagree almost every day.
Yeah, we have it every day. But I think one thing that's different when it comes to us is we don't have, or rather we don't see professional and personal life differently. We don't see work and life differently. For us, both is the same. For us, work is life, life is work.
And it's a myth when you say that you need a work-life balance.
Yeah, so that's what we believe, that it's a myth. For us, we believe that the balance needs to be within us. If you're constantly trying to look for that work-life balance, I don't think there is a balance. The balance has to be within us. So both of us believe, and that's again something that's common between us, is we don't differentiate between personal and professional, but disagreements do happen, and we won't get into the personal disagreements. We'll stick to the professional disagreements. It does happen every day. But how have we worked around it is essentially because we share a common vision in terms of the enterprise. We keep bringing the vision into the picture whenever we have a disagreement. So what that helps is then our egos are kept aside. There's obviously an ego play when there are two people disagreeing on a subject. So when we get the vision into the picture, the ego automatically, naturally dilutes and it sort of fades away. And then both of us look at what is good from a vision point of view. And then we go with
our vision for IndianYards is way stronger than our personal egos. So I think that really, really helps But if your ego is bigger than anything else, then it gets very difficult to tackle any situation. But in our case, right from the beginning, we've had a lot of clarity about our vision for IndianYards. So that keeps us going.
Yeah. And also there is also in terms of severity, right? So there are sometimes that a disagreement or a situation, you got to look at it from a severity, look at it from a importance lens. So if it's not very severe, it's not very critical, then sometimes it's okay to agree to disagree. So we've had those instances as well. When the matter is small, we can agree to disagree and move on. And there's nothing that we hold back. But there are situations where it is critical, it is severe. That's when we bring in the vision into the picture, and then whatever works best for the vision is what we go with. That's helped us.
The driving force, right? So,
yeah.
Do you think that the kind of the kind of understanding that both of you have right now, and what you had, let's say, before, in like when you started off, is there a change? Do you think you have evolved, or was it always like you were so understanding, or there were times where there were certain setbacks or maybe highs or lows? I mean both, not just some success moment, some failure moment. And how was it taken as a couple? Like, were there any instances where it actually hampered your mental well-being in both ways? Or it was always like, you both were very understanding right from the start. How was it?
I think it's never like that, right? You are always understanding. It's always beautiful. Both of you were brilliant right from the beginning. No, it's not like that. We moved from the city because we had stopped growing as human beings.
And at that point in time, I don't think we had this level of understanding.
Yeah.
So when I go back to 2015, 2016 is when we started, getting more or going more inward, So until 2015, I don't think we had this level of understanding. It is from 2016 that we started, when we both started going through this experience of transitioning from that city life, corporate life, to this, rural landscape, and to this off-grid living, and then social entrepreneurs. It's almost like it's been actually only 6 years, but it feels like a lifetime, right? So that's the amount of depth that we've been able to get into our relationship through these 6 years.
And we are still growing. I feel that I'm growing every single day. That because I'm living the life that I have designed for myself. So the growth is still happening. Yeah.
True. Lifetime, right? So what I get is you really feel mental well-being is important especially it's very important for entrepreneurs, but what about couplepreneurs? How important is mental well-being or mental health for you? And at individual level, how do you take care of it?
So I think, one of the things, actually, I think being couplepreneurs is more beneficial or advantageous when it comes to mental, well-being. At least that's how it's worked out for us, because, in this journey, there are ups and there are downs, more downs than ups. So when you're down below, you need each other.
It's like both of us won't be down at the same time, right? So when Suhas is feeling down, I'm there to lift him up, and vice versa. So that really helps. I cannot imagine running IndianYards by myself. It has been a blessing to have Suhas on this journey, and we've come this far because we are fighting this battle together. So it's really, really, really helped us.
Yeah. And in terms of some of the things that we do, which sort of helps in terms of our own well-being, is it's a very simple thing, it's as simple as a walk. We have a routine, a daily routine, of course, when it's not really raining heavily. We have a routine to go out in the evenings for a walk. And sometimes it's in the mornings, but we make it a point that we go once every day. And where we live, I guess it's sort of a blessing for us that in any direction we start to walk, we get into the woods. And, it sort of has a calming effect on us, and it sort of, takes us into a different environment. And that environment helps us to mend whatever is broken. Through the day, you could have had disagreements, arguments, or whatever. We use the walk to mend it. We use the walk to sort of come to a consensus, come to agreement, so on and so forth.
It's a beautiful walk because it's full of eucalyptus trees, lots of wild fir, spruce, lots of trees that were brought to this region by the British. They are not native species, but they are huge and they fill the air with this eucalyptus smell. Eucalyptus helps your headache and helps in your mental well-being. So it immediately calms you down, So even if you're feeling a little bit stressed out and maybe tired, it immediately helps for you to feel good. And then you talk about whatever happened during the day. So we always start the walk with, I always start my walk by saying, how was your day, Suhas? Because we are both leading, different teams and our work is cut out. I do totally different work and Suhas does totally different work. So only at the end of the day, I'll know how his day went. So I'll ask him that, how was your day, Suhas? And then he tells me about his day. And then all the good things and all the bad things. And then I tell him all the things that happened. And then by the end of it, we're literally counting our blessings, the number of things that went well and the number of things that did not go so well. So in the end, we are all feeling really good at the end of the walk. So that is one thing that we do. I'm sure people do different kind of things. Maybe people go for dinner or have dinner together, whatever. But this is our thing. And also we have a special place in the mountains.
A few.
Yeah, there's one special place. It is a chai place actually. So every time we are stressed out, Suhas must and should go to that special place. It's a little bit away, not very far away. And it's when you reach that place, you're overlooking the mountains and sometimes in the valley, and sometimes the mountains are below, the clouds are below and the mountains are higher. So different kind of scenic stuff will be happening each time we go there. And there are these bundis who are selling chai. So just a spot for us to sit down, have some chai, talk to each other, and kind of immediately helps Suhas because he's the one who gets more stressed out than I do. I don't get stressed out as much because I'm always counting my blessings. My blessings are far more than my shortcomings. So, I'm the one kind of pulling him up most of the time. So yeah, so there are these two things that we do on a regular basis that helps us out.
Oh, nice. So I get it. It's always the we time with both of you. Is there any me time also that you do need?
No, I don't think there is. Yeah, a little bit. Yes, I think because Sunita is heavily into craft. Craft is part of a business. So she spends a lot of time in craft. So
yeah. So when I'm crafting, I don't want any interaction at that time. So I don't like to talk. Craft is meditative. Yeah. Any kind of craft. So we are into macrame and crochet, and I do a lot of crafting myself. Right now we are heavily into crochet, so a lot of sampling work and all is being done, and along with my team I sample out as well. The difficult ones I sample out. So when I'm sampling, I don't want to interact because I'm already in a very meditative state, right? That is another thing that helps me.
So that's the me time.
That's my me time.
Yeah.
And Suhas knows that, so he gets busy with something else because he knows I won't interact at that time. So that's my me time.
Yeah. So for me, it is my walks or my run, so there are times that Sunita doesn't come on the walk, and that's what I use as my me time.
And our reading, yeah, whenever we are reading, that's our me time. But we don't we don't need space. Like people say, no, I need space.
Yes.
I think we have a lot of spaces in our day. So we are not really
craving for
running a very fast-paced life. We have paced our life in such a way that we have pockets of, spaces in between. So we don't really see a need for me time, but there are instances where I go for walks alone and she does her crochet, and that sort of acts as me time sometimes.
Yeah. So that brings me to the last question. All those, budding couples or, who are trying to ideate some thought that, they would want to begin a business, or maybe they have started or maybe stuck sometimes the starting journey is tough, right? So you might have faced it yourself in your initial years, maybe, or maybe not. What do you suggest? What are your tips? What are your suggestions for them?
See, for entrepreneurs, then, when you talk about entrepreneurs or social entrepreneurs, I'm not so sure if we're qualified to give suggestions because we ourselves are new in the journey, right? So we're also learning. But I certainly can say there is a clear divide when I talk to other people, that there are some people who say couples being entrepreneurs is the great thing to do. But I see more people say that couples being entrepreneurs is not good. And they won't go far and so on and so forth. I strongly, don't believe in that mindset, or don't believe in that statement. I think couples becoming entrepreneurs is a great way, because, it gives a lot of time between the two people, because you're continuously together.
You can
working.
do more, you can achieve far more.
Yeah. And key, of course, to this is alignment. There are two things that I would definitely say is, one is to have that alignment in terms of the vision, in terms of where you want to go together as a couple. That is extremely important. The second thing is to not take the other person for granted. These are two things which I think are basic and necessary. If these two things, are sorted, then I don't see any challenges whatsoever. I think then the couple are sort of set up to face whatever challenges that comes their way, and really can go the distance. So that's the only piece that I would add from couple becoming entrepreneurs. Yeah,
your vision should be beyond anything, beyond you, beyond your ego, and you should always be looking forward to it. And everything else you just keep aside, and it will be fine. But it's for that person to decide if they will be able to do that.
How invigorating and how insightful. Thank you so much for, this calm conversation. I really enjoyed it. And I'm not hopeful. I'm just so confident that this conversation is going to help, the upcoming entrepreneurs who are planning to start a business as a couple together, or they're not stuck, or maybe they're facing some difficulties. They will definitely learn a lot from this conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you to agree on this, to speak on this topic. I know it is a personal narrative. Not everybody is very comfortable talking about it, but you chose to speak out. Thank you. It's very important for us. It means a lot. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for having us. And if anyone would like to connect with us, more than welcome to have you give us a call, and we'll be happy to chat.
Thank you, Suhas. Thank you, Sunita. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.